I don't think we know yet.
It's chicken and egg, though, right? I mean, if you didn't have so many corrupt people doing so many bad things, there'd be no justification for so many investigations.
Right. I want to be just really clear about one thing, though. I don't care what Donald Trump's base thinks about this. I don't really care what anybody thinks about this, right? We talk about this presidency has been having one that revolved around the shredding of norms. In fact, Donald Trump started shredding norms in the campaign when he refused to release his tax returns. That was a norm. It was a norm for a reason. We want to know what what's in our president's tax returns so that we can judge their actions in office in terms of whether they are behaving in a corrupt way. We want to know where they made. That's why presidents voluntarily have been turned over their tax returns for years. There's no law about it. Probably there should be. But presidents of both parties have done it for generations, where they turn these things over to basically say, look, here's where my money comes from. We've had rich presidential nominees like Mitt Romney who talked about putting their stuff in blind, their assets in blind trusts because they wanted to get to the point where it was like, I'm only acting as president in the interest of the country. We may have different views about what the interests of the country are, but this is not about my personal enrichment, and nothing I do here has anything to do with my financial state of being and whether I'm going to enrich myself. Donald Trump in the campaign, even though many journalists, including me, yelled about it constantly, said he must. He said no. It didn't matter. He got elected. But I think it's not a fishing expedition. It's a super important norm that the Democrats in Congress are right to now try to enforce. As I said, I think it should be legislated. It's that important. And I don't know what we'll find out. I don't actually care what we'll find out, but I think it's a really important norm to have reestablished that this is something that we need to understand about our presidents, not where the bodies are buried, but where their sources of income are.
But how do you get people to care is the thing. People didn't care, obviously, enough that he got elected, and it's not clear that they would care now. And so,
I think politicians, if you want to maintain the validity of norms, politicians need to go out and argue, make the case with their constituents that it matters. And that's all politics ever is the art of persuasion. If people stop caring, the norms will erode on their own, which is why I think it's super important for politicians of both parties to stand up as much as possible and explain to their constituents that they're not on a fishing expedition. This isn't about Donald Trump. It's about maintaining this kind of a tradition that's had a valuable place in American political history.
I think people do care about this kind of thing because Donald Trump ran on Drain the Swamp, right? That was a message that resonated with people, and people understand what a tax form looks like. Everyone, except for some people in Trump's orbit, fill out their taxes every year. And so this is something that people can inherently understand, and it's a message that resonated with that 38%. So I think that not only is it incredibly important, as John just said, but it is something that people care about, and it is something that people can really fundamentally get.